Sister Asia in the house. Hey guys, you know that I couldn't be there, obviously, to be a part of the service today, but I wanted to make sure to send something. Granny had a huge part in my life, and her passing has left an incredible void. When I take a step back and I think about all the things that people are saying about Granny and all the comments and everything that I've been hearing, the word that keeps coming up is strength. And we know that when we're talking about Granny, who was like 120 pounds at her heaviest, 5'0", we are not talking about her ability to lift up heavy things. Although we've all seen her pick up a kid who's the same size as her and carry them up those stairs and into that room. You know that room. As I keep hearing this word strength, it becomes almost intangible. It's not really something that can be depicted anymore with adjectives. But we can see it and we can feel it in all the memories that we have of her and with her. This last trip to Winnipeg, I was sitting with Granny, teary-eyed, telling her that I'd miss her. I didn't want to leave. I knew it was the last time that I would see her in person. And she said something that at the time seemed just poetic. But as I look back and even as I look ahead, I can feel how profound those words really were. I see the wisdom and the strength that we were talking about that underlines those words, and now, as I consider how I would integrate those words into my life, I'm flooded with stories that color the strength that I grew up knowing, and now, as a grown woman, that I strive to emulate. She told me, you know, those who you love are really never that far away. And it's true. While the second that I found out that she had passed, I missed her immediately. I know that who she is, and that intangible strength that was so apparent to everybody that she met, that it will not cease to be, even though her body does. Granny showed us her strength every time she was at a crossroads of what the fair thing was to do and what the right thing was to do. And you know that she always chose the right thing because, as she would always say, God don't like ugly. She showed us her strength when she understood and accepted that sometimes in life you get dealt a shitty hand, but it's up to you to make the best of it, just like that Serenity poem that was by her door. I remember sitting in the radiologist's office with Granny and him telling her that he could probably give her 8 more weeks of life if she accepted the radiation treatment. She thought for a minute, and then she looked at him and she said, 8 weeks? I'll take it. It's better than a kick in the head. Who says that? Granny says that. That's the strength that we know. Granny showed us her strength when she challenged us to rise to the occasion, knowing full well that our lack of resources and our lack of experience would be a gigantic hurdle, and even coming close to meeting those expectations. You know I'm talking about that calendar. That calendar. And if you look at that calendar, you would find out that on March 3rd of 2001, this girl borrowed $4.75 to take the bus to a birthday party. How is my jobless 11-year-old school-going self going to come up with $4.75 to pay Granny back? I didn't know, but I knew that that calendar was the law, and I needed that law if I was going to borrow bus fare again next week. And while I, of course, doubted myself, Granny never, ever did. Granny showed us her strength when in the midst of raising and training more grandkids than I have fingers, and also taking care of Auntie Rosalind at the same time, she still somehow managed to remember all of our birthdays and have a homemade cake and a crisp $20 bill ready for each of us each year. She showed us her strength when she told you her rules, and then she locked the door to her house at 10 p.m. because if you don't want to respect the rules, I don't know where you're going to sleep, but it ain't here. She showed us her strength when we moved away and came back, and necessarily everything and everyone had changed. But Granny's house was still exactly the same as the last time that you were there. She was the constant that we could always all depend on. She showed us her strength when she insisted that she wanted to pass at home and didn't give up her last breath until her last grandchild came by to see her. She showed us her strength when she slipped away in the middle of the night, quietly, dignified, away from all the hullabaloo, in the private and beautiful way that she always liked to handle her business. She said that the ones that we love are really never that far away, and the woman who was a picture of that beautiful, intangible strength that I remember will still be with me, when it's 35 degrees outside, and I find myself sitting in my kitchen, sweat dripping off of my forehead, drinking a cup of tea, a cup of hot tea. She'll be close when I have my kids lined up around the table at 7 p.m. and I'm telling them, you guys can have 2 cookies with your hot chocolate and then it's bed. She'll still be close when I have my kids lined up around the table and I also find myself holding up my slipper and challenging, who wants some of this? She'll be close when it's 4 p.m. and I'm flipping through the channels and suddenly I'm stopped on Global because I have to find out what's up and only Victor Newman can tell me. She'll be close when I'm thinking about the future of humanity, but I'm reminded that my very own grandmother, the first visible minority on her street, paid for her house in cash. When I'm feeling like I'll never be able to do what it is that I need to do, when I'm wondering how life could move forward without her, but I look at the breadth and the scope of this beautiful life, and I'm reminded that life is lived one day at a time. Tomorrow's another issue, and I only need to worry about today. In the last conversation that I had with Granny, she told me that she never did anything exceptional or exciting with her own life. But she grew this big and beautiful army. From her came all these people who were out doing exceptional and exciting things in her honor and with her name. And each of you have memories and you have moments that have been imprinted with Granny's strength. And she won't be far because we'll see her and we'll feel her in the wisdom that we share and the habits and in the beliefs that we have from her that were lovingly gifted to us by this boss woman who knew how to get shit done. Granny, we know that this isn't goodbye. This is just an intermission. We'll see you again. And in the meantime, we will continue to live lives that are beautiful and that exceptional and that are exciting, just like you said we did and we would. We love you, Granny. Long live the Queen.